Hello everyone and welcome to Prehistory, a Traveler's Guide. Today's episode we're covering one of the spinosaurs, Suchomimus. And we are your hosts, Dakota, Scott, and Greg. And here are the notes. Suchomimus' dimensions was 9.5 to 11 meters or 31 feet to 36 feet in length. It also weighed in between 2.6 and 5.2 metric tons, or 2.9 5.7 U.S. tons. Classification. Suchomimus was placed in Spinosauridae, a group of large predators with jaws adapted for hunting fish and flattened skulls when compared to other similar-sized theropods, such as tyrannosaurs. Within Spinosauridae, Suchomimus was a member of Baryonychidae paleobiology. Their teeth were adapted for grasping rather than slicing, and the roof of the mouth was more solid, allowing spinosaurids to resist twisting forces exerted by prey. The rest of the body was not particularly adapted to water. The overall impression is of a massive and powerful creature that ate fish and presumably other sorts of meat like carrion if nothing else was available. Suchomimus had a tall extension of its vertebrae which may have held up some sort of low, flat ridge or sail of skin, which is more exaggerated in its cousin Spinosaurus. Apart from its possible higher back crest, Suchomimus was very similar to the Spinosaur Baryonyx from the Barrymanian of England, which also had strong forelimbs and a huge sickle-like curved claw on its thumb.
Habitat. Lived between 121 and 113 million years ago during the early Aptian stage of the Cretaceous period in Niger, Africa. Discovery. Chicago-based paleontologist Paul Sereno and his team discovered Suchomimus in 1997 in the Sahara near the Tenere Desert in Niger. They found fossils that represented about two-thirds of the skeleton in the Tagama bed of the El Harz Formation. The name Suchomimus means crocodile mimic after the long and narrow shape of its skull.
Popular culture. There is a mounted Suchomimus skeleton in Chicago. Suchomimus penorensis claws and teeth are also in the Museo di Storia Naturale di Venezia. Suchomimus appeared on the website for Jurassic World, but unfortunately did not appear in the actual movie.
Got two video games stars Suchomimus as a playable character, one of which is the first-person shooter Carnivore Cityscape and the Jurassic Park fighting game Warpath Jurassic Park on the PlayStation. Okay, first news story of the day. Ancient super shark fossil found in Texas. Researchers from the Dallas Paleontological Society recently discovered a pair of fossil brain cases from massive and now-extinct relatives of modern-day sharks in Jacksboro, Texas that date back 300 million years. The researchers, Mark McKenzie and Robert Williams, donated the fossils to the museum and worked with John Macy, a curator in the Division of Paleontology, to estimate how big the sharks would have been back compared to two smaller, more complete fossils of closely related sharks. The results suggest that these two Texas super sharks measured between 18 and 26 feet in length, 5.5 to 8 meters. The largest of these specimens would have been 25% bigger than today's largest predatory shark, the great white. Everything's bigger in Texas, even 300 million years ago, Macy said. These new fossils indicate that giant sharks go back much further into the fossil record than previously thought. Prior to this, the oldest giant shark specimens had been recorded from rock dating back just 130 million years ago. The largest shark ever lived, see Megalodon, is much younger, but the oldest about 15 million years ago. The source for this is the official website for the American Museum of Natural History at www.amnh.org.
In our next news story, rare brain case provides insight into sauropod dinosaurs' brains. Experts have described one of the most complete sauropod dinosaur brain cases ever found in Europe. The find could help scientists uncover some of the mysteries of how dinosaur brains operated, including their intellectual and sensory abilities. In a paper published today in the journal PLOS ONE, the team led by senior researcher fellow from the University of Manchester and including Larry Whitmer from Ohio University, Ryan Ridgely from Ohio University also, Francisco Artaga from UNED, and Jose Luis Sanz from UAM, describes the find. Skulls, and particular brain cases, are very fragile and not so many have survived. That is not the case with this find, which is remarkably complete. The skull from a titanosaur, which was a type of sauropod that was common during the Cretaceous period, was found at a dig site in eastern Spain in 2007, and experts have spent the last few years studying to see what secrets it may reveal. The titanosaur lived about 72 million years ago. Like all sauropods, it was a four-legged dinosaur with a long neck and long tail, and it was an herbivore. It was a distant relative of Diplodocus and Brachiosaurus, but with around 14 meters in length, it was only half the size. The study shows that its brain fitted in a diminutive cavity of only 6.3 centimeters in length.
All right, our next story is life on Earth may have started earlier than previously thought, at 4.1 billion years ago. UCLA geochemists have found evidence that life likely existed on Earth at least 4.1 billion years ago, 300 million years earlier than previous research suggested. The discovery indicates that life may have begun shortly after the planet formed 4.54 billion years ago. The research is published today in the online early edition of the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Scientists have long believed that Earth was dry and desolate during that period. Earth's research, including a 2008 study in Nature he co-authored with professor of geology and geochemistry at UCLA, and former UCLA graduate student Michelle Hopkins, is proving otherwise. The researchers, led by Elizabeth Bell, a postdoctoral scholar in Harris's laboratory, studied more than 10,000 zircons originally formed from molten rocks or magmas from Western Australia. Zircons are heavy, durable minerals related to the synthetic cubic zirconium used for imitation diamonds. They capture and preserve their immediate environment, meaning that they can serve as time capsule. The scientists identified 656 zircons containing dark specks that could be revealing, and closely analyzed 79 of them with Raman spectroscopy, a technique that shows the molecular and chemical structure of ancient microorganisms in 3 dimensions. Bell and Beneke, who have pioneered chemical and mineralogical tests to determine the condition of ancient zircons, were searching for carbon, the key component of life. One of the 79 zircons contained graphite, pure carbon, 2 locations. Graphite is older than the zircon containing it. The researchers said they know the zircon is 4.1 billion years old based on its ratio of uranium to lead. They don't know how much older the graphite is. The research suggests life in the universe could be abundant, Harrison said. On Earth, simple life appears to have formed quickly, but it likely took many millions of years for very simple life to evolve the ability to photosynthesize. The carbon contained in the zircon has a characteristic signature, a specific ratio of carbon-12, carbon-13 that indicates the presence of photosynthetic life. And the source for this is the geology page, www.geologypage.com.
In our popular culture segment, in the movies, Chris Pratt explains his Jurassic World prediction in a new bonus feature in the new DVD and Blu-ray release. Chris Pratt is interviewed by his director, Colin Trevorrow, about the time he recorded a viral video from the Parks and Recreation set. The way Pratt tells it, he was making a self-depreciating joke about how he, the co-star on an NBC sitcom, would have to put Steven Spielberg on hold because he's not able to speak with him about Jurassic Park 4. Of course, not even Pratt would imagine just how big of a star he was about to become. Marvel helped launch Pratt's stardom by casting him as Star-Lord in the Guardians of the Galaxy. And last summer, Pratt took things to a new level by battling dinosaurs in the first Jurassic sequel in years. Chris Pratt is expected to return for the announced Jurassic World 2, even though details on that storyline are far and few in between. And that is our popular culture for movies. And next up, today I have a good book to share with you all, called Dinosaur Odyssey by Dr. Scott D. Sampson. This book is very well written, and it gives you a pretty good overview about the ideas pertaining to dinosaurs and how they lived, especially where they fit in the web of life, as well as the food chain and food webs of their environments and ecosystems and whatnot. Overall, it focuses more on the ecological standpoints rather than the dinosaurs themselves, though it does go into detail about dinosaurs, especially when it deals with Jurassic and Cretaceous era dinosaurs. It also has very nice pencil and graphite illustrations of dinosaurs, fossils, and so forth, and it's a really easy read. It's not too technical, but I would recommend it for people who are more savvy when it comes to science, and particularly paleontology, because it does dive deep into some technical issues, or aspects, about paleontology and how we use it to understand these ancient environments. And like I said, it is a recommended read, and you can find it on Amazon and eBay. And so that concludes my book review of this, and like I said, go check it out and read it. It's a good read.
We're now on to video games. It's another game that we haven't had much news on, but if you're a fan of the classic carnivores hunting simulators from the 90s, you'll probably love this game. We're taking a look at Wrath of the Goliaths Dinosaurs. Here's a description from indie.com. Wrath of the Goliaths Dinosaurs is a hunting game set in the future where plants took over the planet and hunters will go through intense military training or get access to the hunting grounds. The game will feature many huntable and unlockable dinosaurs from Apatosaurus to Tyrannosaurus Rex. The hunter has access to military weapons in order to control the population of the dinosaurs. To begin hunting, the player will use their perma-money, a currency you earn each kill, and depending on the size of the animal, you get more or less. This money is then used as credit because you're spending limit, but you'll have the same amount of money next time you go hunting. Each dinosaur costs a certain amount of currency. You cannot hunt to go over the budget. Deaths around you as you go hunting the various levels throughout the game, from a crocodile-like monster to a towering beast whose flip of their tail could kill you, which is a reference to the sauropods you can hunt in the game.
Alright, our paleofauna of the Dilophosaurus. Dimensions: 5 meters, 1.6 feet, almost 3.5 meters, 11.5 feet in length. 300 kilograms, 660 pounds. Classification: Dilophosaurus synapsid. Paleobiology: Dilophosaurus is important as one of the earliest known large plant-eating four-legged land-living vertebrates. In keeping with the tiny head, the cervical vertebrae are reduced in length, while the dorsal vertebrae are massive. The tail is deep, the limbs are short and robust, and the ribs from a wide ribcage. Like most herbivores, Dilophosaurus would have had a capacious gut and symbiotic bacteria to aid in the breakdown of cellulose and other indigestible plant material. Like its more famous relative, Dimetrodon, Dilophosaurus had a cell-like fin that was supported by bones of the vertebral column. Dilophosaurus differs from Dimetrodon in having crossbars on the spine that supported its fin. Researchers have suggested that such cells could have provided camouflage, wind-powered sailing over water, anchoring for extra muscle support, and rigidity for the backbone, protecting against predator attacks, fat storage areas, body temperature control surfaces for sexual display and species recognition. Habitat: lived around 300 to 280 million years ago during the late Carboniferous, early Permian periods of North America and Europe.
Paleobits. The only known remains of the dinosaur and the mantarchs are radioactive and located using a scintillation counter that had been exposed on the surface. The remains were found in the Cedar Mountain Formation. Fossils in the Cedar are often slightly radioactive. Okay, folks, it's Prehistoric Match Up time once again here. In one corner we have the largest of amphibians, Prehistoris, and in the other corner we have probably the most terrifying of all, the river monsters, Rhizodus, aka the Rhizodons. I'll admit the Rhizodon if you watched the episode of River Monsters Prehistoric Terror. And a shout out tonight goes to our buddy in Australia, Stephen Stark, for fighting back.
Okay, Prehistoris. Dimensions. The incomplete skull of the holotype specimen has been estimated to be 50 centimeters or 20 inches long. One very fragmentary but very large specimen, BMNHR12005, appears to have come from an individual nearly 3 times the size of most other specimens, and may have had a skull that measured up to 1.6 meters, 5.2 feet long. Based on related species, the total body length of this specimen has been estimated at about 9 meters or 30 feet, making it the largest known species of temnospondyl. Allegation or classification: an Archegosaurian temnospondyl amphibian. Paleobiology: with an elongated and tapered snout, numerous sharp teeth, long body, short legs, and a tail adapted to swimming, its general appearance was very similar to a modern crocodile, particularly to the gharial, and it probably had a similar lifestyle as an ambush aquatic predator feeding on fish and other aquatic life. Habitat: Prehistoris lived in a humid and tropical environment as indicated by the petrified forest of the Pedra de Sogo Formation in which the fossil has been found. Strata composed of siltstones, shales, and limestones were deposited in lagoonal and fluvial environments. Lived in the Middle Permian period 270 million years ago. Its fossils have been found in what is now northeastern Brazil.
Alright then, and now time for Rhizodus, the Rhizodont. Dimensions: it was of enormous size, reaching 6 to 7 meters in length. That's about 25 feet in long. Classification: an extinct genus of Rhizodont, a branch of the Scarogeptra. The Scarogyptra Turgidgeri. This also is the same family that includes lungfish. Thanks, Greg. This is the family that includes the coelacanth and lungfish. Paleobiology. The most notable characteristics of Rhizodus, when compared to other giant lobe fins, were the two giant 22-centimeter fangs located near the front of its jaws, followed by other teeth scaling downwards in size. Rhizodus was a giant apex predator that fed on small to medium-sized amphibians ranging from 30 centimeters to 600 centimeters in size, using its teeth to kill prey and rip it up into digestible sizes, rather than swallowing prey whole like other smaller-toothed Sauropods. Habitat. Lived in the Carboniferous period, 358.9 to 298.9 million years ago, in what is now Ireland and the northern UK and the state of Scotland. It resided in freshwater lakes, river systems, and large swamps. Now, personally, I think the fish has got... go ahead, Scott.
It was probably... I was going to say, I'd be willing to bet it was probably amphibious.
Amphibious? So it could probably get up on land for a little bit?
Maybe, crawl around. Probably couldn't walk, but I would imagine could probably slither around like an eel.
Kind of like mud
sort
skipper.
Of an eel-like body.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked a lot like Houston off the road on steroids.
Mm-hmm. True that. And the picture here that they have of this creature, the artist did a really good job on it. And
the Suchus is larger, but it doesn't have those fangs. Like Rhizodus does. So it might be a real even, could go either way.
I personally favor the fish on my part because it's more streamlined in the water. It could probably move through the water better. And if, like you said, if it's amphibious, it could probably chase the amphibian up onto land. Probably not as great a distance if the amphibian got a head start. But like you said, with those big teeth.
What's the tough call? Teeth gives Rhizodus an advantage, I think,
right?
Despite the smaller size.
And I don't know if they've.
I was about to say that this is not one I asked for a conversation, but just from looking at it, Prehistory still looks to be like a gharial in overall appearance, so forth. So I'm envisioning it's not going to be a very powerful predator exactly, but it's not a total weakling either in that department. Rhizodus, on the other hand, definitely was well adapted for doing some serious damage with its bites. It might be able to punch through bone quite possibly. Yeah, river monsters was an indication.
So overall, point goes to Rhizodus.
I think it seems like all three of us are leaning toward Rhizodus.
Yeah, that's where I'm leaning towards. Yeah. I think it was more fast moving as well as its bite, giving it an advantage in speed and agility. And really, the only thing I think the amphibian has going for is its size and its ability to probably move about land a lot better than Rhizodus. So,
yeah. Either way, I wouldn't want to be in the water with Prehistoris.
No, I don't want. I wouldn't want to be swimming with either of these creatures. How about you, Greg? Would you want to go swimming with them?
Not, but I don't think Prehistoris is that helpful. Considering it's going after a fish eater, and it was a fish eater.
Trure to that.
But it could bite your head if you wanted to, though.
Oh yeah, I think you'd be missing a few toes.
As I said, I really don't know much. I don't really know a whole lot about Prehistoris to really know what it could really do or not.
Well,
but as of now, I'm favoring the fish.
The two most impressive amphibians that I know of are Prehistoris and Coelurosaucus.
Mm-hmm. I think my favorite amphibian is Coelurosaucus from Antarctica, mainly because
Coelurosaucus was a real late survivor, early in the Cretaceous.
True that, and it was featured in Walking with Dinosaurs, which is where I first heard of it.
Yeah,
but
I can't, though. There were giant cryptobranchid salamanders in Canada during the Miocene that got 9 feet long. That's pretty impressive right there.
True. That puts me in mind of those large Japanese salamanders.
Well, that's exactly. This is like one of those on steroids. It's their close relative.
Oh, okay.
Salamanders are related to them.
Yep. I was just about to mention that Cryptobranchid is the family that includes the Chinese, Japanese giant salamanders and our American hellbenders.
Yep.
I've actually, speaking from experience on hellbenders, I've had the privilege of actually picking one up out of the water. If it's okay, I'll recount the story right quick. But Me and my cousins, we were on a camping trip. We was on a camping trip up in Blairsville, Georgia, and we was swimming in a creek, and my cousin thought there was a stick in the water. I, of course, knew what it was, and being gentle, I picked it up, and he started running when he saw what it was.
Yeah, they put stubby-headed alligator.
Yeah, of course, I sent him back into the water gently and all that, because in Georgia, they're illegal to harm or anything like that, or to butcher or anything of that nature, so I made sure the animal was, safe after I picked it up out of the water. But anyway, so to conclude with our fight and everything, we all lean towards Razodus winning this fight. And to all of our viewers and listeners out there, we encourage you to put your comments and what your thoughts are about who would win this fight. So you can put that in our comment section on YouTube and our Facebook page and our DeviantArt page. And as always, thank you for joining us tonight. And we're your hosts, Dakota, Scott, and Greg. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Goodbye.
Oh, one last thing. Please support our Patreon page.